I'm super excited to be journeying along with you throughout your pregnancy. Hey, I'm Christine Sullivan, founder and CEO of Wombish, the nation's leading birth, postpartum, and education company, providing doula services throughout the United States. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all of our social media platforms, where we're giving not only doula services, but knowledge, resources, education, and a boost of confidence to help you along your journey. The moment we find out we're pregnant, things move fast. You go from entertaining the idea, or for some of us, it was by surprise, and instantly you get that confirmation, that positive test, and your mind is moving a mile a minute. You're trying to figure out all of these thoughts. You're trying to sort out everything. You're trying to make important decisions, and you don't even know where to start. Instantly, you go from, I'm excited to, ooh, this is nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh, reality sets in that I have to actually birth this baby. And you start thinking about the challenges at hospitals and what you've heard and what cousin so-and-so told you about her birth story. And now the fear sets in. And you're looking around trying to figure out what's next, what should I do, and it becomes overwhelming. I want to focus on the first thing that you should do before you start going down rabbit holes. I know you've already started your Instagram searches, or if you didn't do it voluntarily, that algorithm found out. Because one thing that algorithm is going to do is clock you. So now every time you open up any social media platform, all you're getting is like a whole bunch of noise, a whole bunch of noise. It becomes overwhelming. I always think about when I was pregnant with my first, we had Facebook and Instagram just started, but it wasn't super popular. So we didn't have reels, we didn't have shorts, we didn't have TikTok was not a thing here. It was just very silent, you know? And it was like you and your thoughts, and then you had your close circle of friends and your family and that circle of influence. But that was manageable. Now, fast forward 2025, you have your circle of influence paired with social media and everything else that you have going on in your life. And when you have all of these things talking to you, and thoughts are popping, it's like, how are you pulling from your innermost thoughts? Did you even do a check-in with yourself to ask yourself, like, how am I feeling in this moment? Am I excited? Am I nervous? Am I scared? So what I really want you to do is I want you to reel it back in. Like, close everything, all the 50 million tabs you have open right now, because I know you do. Close them all out. I want you to come off of social media for like a day or two, if that's not too much to ask, right? And I really want you to start channeling in your innermost thoughts. And what this is going to do is it's going to help you with connecting with your pregnancy. It's going to help you with developing your why. It's going to help you to channel deep and figure out what your thoughts are for birth and how you really truly want to birth and how you're really feeling about the entire process. What this is going to do is it'll help you with coming up with ideas for what you need, who you want to be there, where you want to give birth, how you want to feel in that moment. It's going to help you when you're thinking about planning for the postpartum journey. It's going to help you with lactation preparation and just overall parenting. It starts with locking in to the connection that you have with your little one and the changes that are emerging within your body. I want you to do something that might not be comfortable for you to start, but as time goes on, you're going to develop a liking for it. I want you to journal. So, before we move on to any other steps of what you should do in preparation for your pregnancy, and if you've started doing other things, it's not too late to go back to step one. I want you to start journaling your thoughts, your ideas, your feelings. I want you to write it down. I want you to get it out of your mind. I want you to attach to your thoughts of how you're feeling throughout this journey thus far And I want you to begin to set the tone for how you will feel in weeks and months to come until the arrival of your little one. So, for those of you who have never journaled before, you might be wondering, well, how do I start? What do I do? It's simple. The first thing that I want you to do is allocate some time in your schedule where you are free from interruptions, disturbances. I want you to silence the noise, maybe even give yourself a challenge of putting your phone at the other side of the room. And I want you to pick up a journal and a pen and start to write out your thoughts. Well, some of us have a difficult time with doing so because we don't know where to start. We have too many thoughts rolling through our minds, and it's just gonna feel like word vomit. So, I'm gonna give you some prompts that you can use to start with your journaling journey. The first prompt is, how do I feel in this moment? From the moment you found out you're pregnant up until this very point, how do you feel? And the good thing about this is you don't have to put on a front like you are super ecstatic. Some mothers are not. Some mothers are frightened, angry, they're nervous, where others are excited, they're overjoyed. This has been a moment of anticipation. Whatever that looks like for you, get it out. How are you feeling in this moment? And you want to ask yourself why. If the response is, I feel a little bit nervous, I want you to take it there. And the cool thing about journaling is that this is a safe space for you. So, why do you feel nervous about pregnancy? Why are you anxious about this? Why are you excited? Get it all out, and I want you to flood your page with this journal prompt. The next thing that I want you to focus on is writing out your hopes and your fears for this pregnancy. What are your hopes? What are you highly anticipating? You know what I like about this? I like writing out what your hopes are because sometimes we feel like we are ineligible of hoping and anticipating greatness. Sometimes we feel like because the world is so crazy and there's so much going on, that to ask for a safe pregnancy is like too much to ask. But it's not. So write down what your hopes are. Do you hope for a healthy pregnancy? Do you hope to be surrounded by family and friends that love and care about your journey? Do you hope to have the best care providers in your area who will provide you with support and guidance along the way? Do you hope to be super happy and filled with love and joy? Do you hope to not have crazy pregnancy symptoms? It is a safe space for you to write down all of your hopes. And then, in conjunction with writing down your hopes, I want you to write down your fears. It'll be helpful if you write this down in a column. So on one side of your paper, I want you to write down all of your hopes. And then on the other side, I want you to get it all out and write down what all of your fears are for your pregnancy, if you have any. And fears vary. You have different levels of fears. Some might have a fear of working out again. I'm fearful that if I'm pregnant, I can't work out again and it'll impact my health. Some might have a fear of losing their child during pregnancy. And whatever your fears are, what we are going to do later on is we're going to combat those fears with evidence-based truth. So write down all of your hopes and all of your fears. What are all of my hopes and my fears for my pregnancy? We've moved from one journal prompt to the next. And you can space this out. You don't have to do this all in one day. You don't have to do this all in one sit down. But over time, as you're moving from these prompts, you'll find that it'll be easier for you to pour out and really dig deep to the core of how you are feeling. Your hopes and your fears are helpful because when you're channeling your hopes and you're jotting down your fears, it'll help you to direct you to the help and the support that you really truly need along this journey. And you'll find that once you start building a network of people who support you, those hopes and those fears are not far-fetched. They're not uncommon. They're totally relatable to what other moms are going through and what their hopes are and what their fears are. It's very, very similar. The next journal prompt is, how has my perspective on motherhood changed since seeing the positive pregnancy test? You may have thought that motherhood was one thing, and if you've never been a mother before, you're looking at motherhood from the outside in. And you have these surface based thoughts and ideas of what motherhood could possibly look like, could possibly feel like, how life could change if you become a mother. But then the moment you get that positive test, it sinks in quickly that, oh, shoot, like, this is now. I'm really about to be somebody's mother in a couple of months. So, how has your perspective changed? I know for me, when I was pregnant with my first son, prior to the pregnancy, I always had this thought of I would make a great mother. And if I ever became a mother, these are all the things that I would do differently from how I was raised. You know, we always compare our upbringing and our experiences from our childhood to how our parenting will look when we become parents. Well, when I actually found out that I was pregnant, the reality set in that, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be responsible for this life. My life is going to change significantly. No longer will I be, concerned about these things or dabbling into these activities, but now I have to be very responsible because there is a life that is depending on me. And I was excited and I was a little bit anxious, but I felt like I was ready to take on that task because it was something that, even though my pregnancy wasn't planned, it was always anticipated that at some point I'm going to be someone's mother. So I want you to do the same. I want you to really think about how your perspective has changed. The next thing that I want you to do is take that same prompt and at some point include your support person if you have one, or your friend who's closest to you if you have one, because their viewpoints on how they view you as a mother might help you when you're trying to figure out how your perspective has altered. The next journal prompt is, what aspects of pregnancy am I most excited about, and what aspects of pregnancy am I most nervous about? And that's a good one. It kind of coincides with the previous journal prompts where we were talking about what are your hopes and what are your fears. I want you to handle that the same way, where I want you to write on one side what are the aspects that you're excited about, and I want you to just get it all out. When I think about excitability during pregnancy, for me with my first, I was super excited about actually seeing my body transform. Like, I wanted to see what it looked like to actually move and flow as a pregnant mom, to have that bump. I was excited about, you always hear, oh, your hair is going to just grow and flourish. Your nails are going to be super nice. And for some moms, they experience clearer skin. I was excited about those things. I was really anxious about the thought of not snapping back. Of course, I don't use that terminology, but being real, I'm a mom, and in my 20s, when I was pregnant with my first, those were my thoughts. I was very anxious about that. I always had thoughts about stretch marks and how am I going to get rid of them. Your excitability and your fears and anxiousness will look different than mine, or you might find some commonality with it. Whatever that looks like, I want you to write it down and I want you to get it out of your head. And don't be ashamed and don't be afraid, because to say this out loud, if I tell somebody, oh, I was super fearful about stretch marks, they might say, well, that's super vain. Well, actually, it's not, because it's my body and I'm the one that has to look at myself from day to day. And some moms might say, well, it's just stretch marks and it's your badge of honor. Yeah, that's cool and all, but I'm just being real. When I was in my 20s, that was a concern of mine. So we have different degrees, and depending upon where you are right now, your thoughts and your fears, the things that you're excited about, the things that you're anxious about, it's going to vary from person to person. And that's why journaling is important, because you don't have to worry about someone judging you, someone saying, oh, that's not that deep. Well, it's not that deep to you, sis, but to me, it's deep. My thoughts and my fears from my first, drastically different when I moved on to child number 2 and child number 3. I had different concerns when I got to child 3. When I got to child 3, it was still bodily concerns. I was concerned about, do I have the stamina to do this? Do I have the stamina to chase around another child? So it varies. I want you to move through all of those 2 columns and really be real with yourself. Do not hold it in, because again, this is going to help you with releasing, and building that connection with your pregnancy, so you don't feel like you're just rushing through all of these steps for the sake of saying, hey, I got this done. And then the last thing that I want you to focus on is asking yourself, what level of help do I need right now? Like in this present moment of my pregnancy, what support do I need? Do I need support from a friend, a loved one? Do I need to seek a counselor, a therapist? Do I need to solidify OB care or midwifery care? What is that going to look like for me? What level of support do I need in this present moment? Can I find support within myself? Like maybe I just need to ground myself because I feel a little bit overwhelmed, with all of these thoughts and ideas and social media searches and what someone so and so told me about their pregnancy. Maybe I need to just silence the noise. Maybe my immediate support looks like journaling, looks like going for a nice walk, looks like going to sleep a little bit early. Maybe I'm having physical symptoms, like maybe I'm super nauseous right now in first trimester, and my immediate support looks like trying to figure out how to mitigate this so that I can feel better. It varies. So, with all of these different journal prompts, find one that really speaks to you. And you can use these journal prompts over and over again, because guess what? How you feel one day is going to be drastically different than how you feel the very next day or the very next hour even. If you have enough time, you might want to incorporate journaling several times a day. In those moments where you start to feel anxious, if you feel that anxiety creeping in, maybe you just need to silence the noise and pull out your journal and write out your thoughts until you feel lighter during this moment. So this is going to really help you. This is step 1 of the top 5 things that you should be doing right now in preparation for your pregnancy. So you just found out you're pregnant. Before you go down all of these different paths of solidifying things, Googling things, and packing on all of these tasks, I want you to pause, be still in the moment, embrace what's taking place, honor yourself and all of these ongoing changes that your body will continue to experience. And I want you to establish a deeper connection that will grow with you as you move through your pregnancy in anticipation of the arrival of your little one, and you'll feel so much better. Hey, I'm glad that you stuck around to listen to episode 1 of the Wombish podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and come back again because we'll have more episodes. In our next episode, we're going to pick up on the second step that you should be doing in preparation for your birth. There are the top 5 steps. So we're going to move through each step until we get to number 5, and then we'll move on to the next topic.